Hello? Hello? We're live.
Hello.
Hello. Recorded.
Excellent.
Future.
Hello.
Welcome to episode...
We are not live.
3?
We are...
This
3. We've
yeah.
made it to 3 of these things. That's
Yo.
ridiculous. Yeah. Given that the first one was half an hour and the second one was an hour, then I hope everyone's looking forward to the 2-hour-long podcast.
I will quit out of protest if that happens. But in celebration of making it 3 episodes, today we have a very special guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Katherine. I go to Hoosock. I'm mates with Luke and Matthew, and a big fan of the Sixth Doctor, which is why I'm here today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Katherine is our Sixth Doctor correspondent, as showcased by the fact that she is pretty much constantly wearing the Sixth Doctor jacket.
Yes.
In pretty much every situation. It looks great. You can just I just recognise Katherine just walking around uni because the jacket is truly
iconic.
Not missable, and it's amazing.
Thank you. I mean, you've got your gold suit, which is very recognisable when you're at Hoosock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all when I'm, out drinking.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Outfits in general, though. At least whenever I see you.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, it's the mark of Hoosock, really. I think to be a Hoosock ambassador to the people, you need to be dressed as well as possible. And also, there's Matthew. Yeah, dude.
Listen,
at least you can waistcoat sometimes.
I have different outfits. I have. It's inconvenient to wear chainmail most of the time.
It's personally a skill issue and cowardice, but whatever.
I have many issues. Most of them skillful. Right.
Yeah, you've got that plot-relevant dyspraxia.
Yes, but you know who else has issues? Our listeners. For one, they listen to this podcast.
Oh yeah, they listen.
I've done it again. But they also have issues that they send us. Sorry, I'm just messing with my own.
Because who else is going to listen to them?
Yes.
We're doing live audio editing, which is always an enjoyable experience.
Just gotta mess with the levels. We love the levels. Nice. We love gain.
I love when there's a level.
And talking of love,
hell yeah!
Today is, of course, almost maybe Valentine's Day, except not. And we have a very fitting question from an anonymous listener.
Coward.
Exactly. Which is, how do I get a date?
Well, I've got an idea for this one. Let me tell you, this one works every time. So the first step, medical malpractice. It's got to end in death. This is important because through killing this person, they will then be reborn as Paul McGann. So obviously an upgrade from whoever they used to be. And then they will snog you. And also some other stuff will happen that will be incredibly unclear and hard to figure out.
Yes.
And he's got some weird ex hanging around, wearing sunglasses at all times. But, he can still snog you, so that works.
And he might threaten to kill himself on the first date, but, that's because he's talking to a police officer.
Every Sigma threatens to kill themselves on the first date. That's the true mark of a Giga Chad, okay?
Yeah.
This is another, when you've got the first date, from our advice, take initiative and threaten to kill yourself before the other person can threaten to kill themselves.
If you're at all approached by the police, grab their gun. This is a message specifically to our American viewers.
Dating advice.
Yeah.
Katherine, do you have any?
Death has to be involved in some kind of way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Has anyone else got any suggestions for our tragic, woeful listener?
Yes. Katherine?
Catherine, I believe you...
Oh, yes. So maybe you could be the one to be killed specifically by Hitler. He has to shoot you, and then when you are dying in mid-regeneration, then ask that person to marry you. The person that you want to date, to be more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Hitler, to be clear.
Yeah. Do not ask Hitler to marry you.
That would be an interesting thing.
But yeah, I do think that yeah, your suggestion, Catherine, does show a lot of rizz, a lot of, you know, the ability to ask someone to marry you even while you've been shot, and also it kind of automatically comes with a reminder to the person you're asking that there are worse options than you, because Hitler will be in the room.
Exactly.
So it's a really good way to increase your value relative to the rest of the room. Just have Hitler also be there.
Yeah. This is part of the advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
The most important part of a proposal. Hitler is there.
Always works. Always.
Yes. I'm not sure if I need to give any more advice after this. I'm going to talk about having a good wingman, who is also dying. Death is a constant theme here, much like in Torchwood, which we'll get to. Death is a constant theme in all of our dating advice. But have your wingman, who is dying very slowly, set you up with some dude he met on a cruise a few years ago, and then pretend to be psychic. That's an important part.
Massive amounts of rizz comes from being psychic. Like, you gotta, like, if you want to be psychic and not have rizz, you've got to just be so very pathetic that it cancels out. And also be called Bentley Mathrock.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. I think most psychics have zero rizz because, you know, they're weird.
But we're trying to sell your advice to the listeners.
Well,
you need to
you've got to
pretend
to
tell
be
them that
psychic.
psychics have rizz.
No, you've got to pretend to be
Paul
psychic.
McGann has a lot of rizz.
Does that?
He's definitely psychic.
This is true.
I believe that.
There we go. Thank you, Catherine.
The facts have been established. Well, I think that.
So,
you know,
essentially, be Paul McGann or make someone into Paul McGann.
Yes. Maybe both.
Is the advice. Or maybe both. There's definitely Paul McGann-cess fanfiction out there, for
I
sure.
know, I've written it.
You know.
I haven't yet. But, you know.
Send me the link.
That's almost the plot of Zagreus. I can say anything's the plot of Zagreus. Anyway.
Everything is the plot of Zagreus.
Speaking of episodes that have plots, Revelation of the Daleks. That's a good segue.
It's good.
It's
good.
good.
Yeah, it's good. Well, not every
good.
episode can be segued into it. We're talking about Fugitive the Jadoon later, so
Fair enough.
you know, not every episode can be segued into it. Speaking of episodes that have plots, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So,
We'll get to that.
what do we all think of Revelation of the Daleks?
Well, first, shall we hear from Katherine, who is our Sixth Doctor correspondent on this issue?
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us some of your thoughts on Revelation of the Daleks, Katherine?
Oh, absolutely. Fantastic episode. You gotta prank someone by building a massive statue of them and then have that like grave try and crush them at some point. Fantastic energy.
Yeah.
And obviously the best way to defeat the Daleks, the very best weapon in Doctor Who features the supersonic. It's the supersonic wave of rock and roll. This is how to defeat the Daleks.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. I don't know why they didn't put that one into all subsequent Dalek episodes. I think, you know, if like the plot of Dalek, like the episode Dalek, would have been so improved. If
supersonic wave of rock and roll.
Yeah. I'm really surprised that they didn't put that one in the episode. I feel like, you know, that's a real missed opportunity.
It's in our hearts. But it's time to talk about Orsini. This is Orsini appreciation hours. It is.
Yeah.
He's such a guy. He's perfect.
Oh.
He is truly a guy with a fake leg, and a gun. He's just
so true.
Doing
character of all time. Where is his Big Finish spin-off?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
I need to know more about this guy.
I think this is the thing that Classic Who just does a lot better than New Who, I think. which is world building in like the fucked way, but like a really cool way.
Yes.
Which is like,
It's
this guy rocks up and it's like, oh yes, he's a member of the Grand Order of Oberon. Who are they? Oh, well, they're the Grand Order of Oberon. You see, he's got a code of honor and he's got a squire, and these things all make sense. And like all of Revelation of the Daleks.
It just chucks things in there, but it really works. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't go, wait, what? You go, oh yes, of course, the Grand Order of Oberon.
Exactly.
Of course.
It just works.
Yeah.
And also, I do think, Classic Who also does a really good job of just generally kind of the sort of secondary characters in quite a few stories are just so memorable. Even ones that don't really actually do anything like plot relevant, like the cook from everyone's favorite double Patrick Troughton story is just such a fucking icon. Like that depressed cook, so relatable.
Yeah.
I just think there's so many stories that have such good like secondary characters.
I think Revelation of the Daleks is a really good example for that, because it is a story that is mostly consists of secondary characters.
Oh hell yeah. It did kind of remind me of Caves of Androzani in that way, where we've got like quite a few different secondary characters. Kind of, they've got sort of different sort of relationships to each other. They're kind of interacting, kind of double crossing each other, and also the theatrical nature. I feel like for me, like the Happiness Patrol, Caves of Androzani, and now Revelation of the Daleks are all kind of they're not the same kind of theatre necessarily, but they have this like theatrical element to them that I just really love.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very theatrical and very fun. They're very
Katherine, you're also
yes.
You can also be our theatre consultant, actually, Katherine, on account of studying it. So this is very relevant to you. We've got we're getting relevant guests on here. We're getting experts in their fields.
Yes.
I mean, English and theatre is my degree, by the way, to you listeners.
Yes.
Should probably mention that.
Yeah. One day.
Okay. Yeah, very theatrical, very fun. Very much enjoy it.
And it's just a real banger. I really did. Yeah, that was my first time watching it personally, and I really enjoyed it. It's definitely it's one of my favorite Sixth Doctor stories now, up there with like Vengeance on Varos.
I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm very glad that you enjoyed it. I think it is one of the best Sixth Doctor televised stories. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
I think this era has a lot of kind of dark comedy in it, and like it's a very specific vibe. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Yes.
Yes. So from an muted myself. From an episode we all enjoyed to one that I think it's safe to say we were less positive about. I think this is actually the first time. It's not the first time we talked about a New Who episode. It's nowhere near the first time we're talking about a New Who episode. But it almost is. It's the first time we're talking about a non-13th Doctor New Who episode. Because we've skipped doing that for 2 weeks.
Of course, it's that.
Listen.
Did we? Yeah.
Listen, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Not good. First of all, Time-Noncing.
Yes. Welcome, audience.
A lot of it.
Today, in this lecture, we will explain to you the concept of Time-Noncing. Time-Noncing is when you use time travel to do stuff that should get you placed on some sort of register. It is to say, stop going back and meeting people that you're trying to shag when they're children. I mean, they're not going that far, but you know what I mean. Don't do this.
Yeah.
It's creepy. Yeah. It's really creepy.
Yeah. In honor of Valentine's Day, we would like to say that ways to get a date, everything other than that.
Yeah. Do not do that.
Yeah. Do not do this.
This is worse than the death suggestions. This is the non-suggested thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
the death suggestions were absolutely excellent and should definitely be followed because they were on this podcast and therefore are true.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, it's and this has got sort of multiple cases, criminal cases, if you will, of time-noncery.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because a lot of episodes that have time-noncery will just kind of have one focused on time-noncery, but this one is double, and both by the same person. Clara,
go
directly
Clara.
to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect £100.
Yeah. Listen, it's such a mess of an episode.
Yes. There's
like, I kind of like the fact that the Doctor is just having a crisis, but also I don't. I also don't like that there's not... Like, this is the least an episode out of any of the episodes we're discussing today.
Yeah, I made the joke about Fugitive of the June, but this is more than that.
The Doctor rocks up and is like, what if this thing happened that I thought might happen? I'm gonna fuck around. Clara.
On the spectrum of like Twice Upon a Time to Demons of the Punjab, of like, oh, actually, there's no villain.
Yeah.
no, of like good to bad. Like it's
okay.
both like things that are like there's no actual like alien villain.
Yeah.
Type thing. There's no sci-fi type villain because there is like a human villain in Demons of the Punjab, but there's no, and that's more complicated.
I'm gonna say there's a human villain in Listen. Clara.
I feel like as someone who likes pure historicals, I don't mind not having no sci-fi in it.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
You have to do it well.
My complaint.
Yeah.
You know that I am a big pure historical fan. I have bribed people into watching The Highlanders.
I've still not been paid.
In terms of the...
That's why I haven't watched
Well,
it.
you've still not watched The Highlanders.
Exactly.
I have bought someone a bottle of wine in exchange for them watching The Highlanders, and I'm willing to do the same for other people. So hit me up.
Wow.
I
discuss this
in
after
order
the
to make
podcast.
people watch Highlanders, you're gonna do whatever you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So no. So I have this spectrum of like quality, right? And on one end is Twice Upon a Time, and on the other end is Demons of the Punjab, and it's about the whole sort of twist where there's no like evil villain type. And I do think that the Listen is remarkably pretty close to Twice Upon a Time. And this is a lot that I'm saying this because I am a notorious Twice Upon a Time hater, but Listen sucks also.
It's part of the same thing. It's part of Moffat, what are you doing? It's, I will not go too insane about this because I have said things that I have regretted when going too insane about this.
I don't regret anything, and this is worse than Timeless Children.
Sure. I think...
Okay.
I don't think as an episode that is true, but I think that it is part of a trend.
As an episode, but
there is an ongoing trend
retcon...
of whatever Moffat tries to fuck with the Doctor's past and motivations that I find more contemptible than Timeless Children as in its totality, and this is a brick in that wall.
I feel that the retcon here has more effect on the Doctor up until like this point than Timeless Children does, because this retcon is trying to say, oh, this is why the Doctor has done the things that the Doctor has done up to this point. This has affected the Doctor up to this point, while Timeless Children is a thing that is only going to affect the Doctor from that point onwards.
Yeah.
That's
so
a fair
to me,
point.
that is...
Yes.
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying it's a fair point.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I feel like that's worse in terms of retconning because it tries to actively affect the stuff that came before, instead of Timeless Children, which is like there's stuff going on before the show, and now as the show continues, it will affect the show, but the stuff in the middle is pretty much unaffected. Whereas Listen is like, oh, guess what? Things different, and it's like
it's basically like Name of the Doctor again, right? But did you consider that Clara was important? Did you consider maybe Clara was there? She was always there. And like Clara is sometimes an enjoyable character. I think there are a lot of good episodes where she's giving a really good performance, where chemistry really works. But she's sometimes, you know, put into things where she should not be, like all of the Doctor's timeline. And
at this point, I'm kind of surprised they didn't just decide to go the whole hog and retcon Clara as being Susan the whole time.
Why the fuck not, eh?
This fucking point.
You know,
She's been so many.
I think there's
everything.
something. He has something to say. Bye.
I was going to say what might have worked better if the Doctor had regenerated into Clara, and then you've got the Doctor just becoming Clara, because I feel like as a companion she can be too powerful.
Yes,
I think she would be better being the Doctor.
Yeah, which I guess is the arc. It just isn't.
Yeah.
All good. But, you know, bad arcs, they happen. I think, you know, maybe if we've learned...
they actually happen very frequently.
Very frequently. But you know where they don't happen? Where there were no bad arcs?
Series 11.
Wrong. Torchwood. Also Series 11, but Torchwood.
Yeah, Torchwood. See, it's the Chris Chibnall of it all.
Yeah.
I'll retract that when I finish Series 12 probably, but up until that point, it's the Chibnall of it all.
Yeah. I'm already in the, you know, I'm past the peak of. We'll get to that later. We'll get to that Fugitive of the Doom. But Torchwood. So, you've watched some Torchwood, haven't you?
I have watched some Torchwood. I have watched 2 episodes of Torchwood since the last podcast episode, and those have been Day in the Death and Something Borrowed.
Yeah. So, Katherine, have you watched both these episodes?
Yes, I have seen those episodes.
Good.
And
excellent.
Recently, so yeah.
Excellent. So, where do we want to start?
Well, I've got a variety of opinions, by which I mean that I have one side of opinions on the one episode and another very different side of opinions on the other episode, because Day in the Death is my favourite episode of Torchwood so far, and Something Borrowed is at the very least one of my least favourites, and legitimately possibly my least favourite. So it really just a wild kind of thing to be going from like one to the other, because that is absolutely the most significant like difference in quality between 2 adjacent episodes of almost anything that I can think to have experienced.
Okay. This is
Day in the Death epitomizes peak to me.
Yes.
Masterpiece.
I will come with you on this one. Day in the Death it's very good. I mean, yeah. Owen. This is
I really like the Owen arc. I really like exploring the nature of death and life and death and what it means to die. Yeah. And it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that episode just does it so well with the sort of themes of suicide. I think those are handled so well in terms of it, like his interactions with that woman and everything, and the way like that his kind of like almost he kind of experiences stages of grief over himself, you know, and like the way that he kind of, you see like these really clear, you know, you see his anger and his real despair, but then you see him kind of go to like accepting it and then trying to help more people. I think that's really well done over the course of that episode, and the way that folds into his interactions with the woman. Yeah.
But I like that because it's Torchwood, it isn't like, it is really serious and it's treating these things with respect, but it is still doing like the kind of torturedness of it. Of you still get that sequence of when he's like breaking into the compound, you really get the vibe that he's like a 90s comic book character.
Oh yes.
Like,
yes, no, I feel
you can picture it, right?
Oh,
big time.
I can't die. That's not what that's kind of what it's not what it sounds like. Anyway.
Work on an impression now.
I'm Owen Harper. I'm dead. That's what he sounds like. That's what he sounds like.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely, sure. I'll believe you.
What does Yanto say? This is tortured impression.
What Yanto sounds like.
You know my Welsh accent is terrible.
I think you mean your Irish accent, because that's what it ends up being most of the time.
Listen.
Your Welsh accent often slides to other places very easily. It's just really roaming about, you know? Yeah. It's jumping about. You know, it lilts so far that it becomes a different place.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not doing it. So, yeah. Day and the Death, amazing. Something Borrowed.
I don't like it.
I am somewhat inclined to agree. It's...
Yeah.
So, I find the pregnancy thing really awkward.
Yeah.
Like, forced pregnancy is uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel that. Honestly, though, I was expecting that to be the worst thing about it. And turns out that I actually found, like, 2 other prominent elements in the episode to be more uncomfortable for me than the forced pregnancy, which is wild, because I was really going into it thinking, that might suck. But no, it turns out it also sucks in other new and surprising ways. Well, not new. The guap situation, for example, is something that's been unfortunately bubbling into the show for a while. But this episode felt so egregious to me because why are we still doing this?
Yeah, it has fully not come up through most of the rest of Series 2. And especially, like, you've had 3 episodes to return
Black is Gwen and Jack.
Yeah.
The worst possible ship name for the worst possible ship.
It's so fucked. Who
does
cares?
not work. But, you know, it's just Jack, and I kind of accept it a little bit.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I'm fine with Jack being, like, you know, attempting to fuck every tortured member. Though, as we've established, Owen has actually fucked more tortured members.
This was a long discussion at Whosock, and the person who's fucked the most tortured members is objectively Owen.
Yeah.
We know this to be true.
Probably.
Probably. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
You know, what could have...
I'm not.
What else could have happened? I'm
sure it's on there.
listening to the Big Finish audios, so if anyone hooks up with anyone unexpected, I can fill people in.
Gonna ask
the Big Finish audios are very good.
Yes, I'll ask for some recommendations for those after we're finished, because I need to listen to those.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I would also like some recommendations, and also if you could send them to me, that would be fantastic.
What are you talking about? That's
not what
I can do with
in the post. Send the CDs in the post in in a box.
I can
I
can send you my legally obtained.
No, I meant like a list of episodes.
I could send you the link to the websites at which you could legally purchase them from Big Finish.
Right, yeah.
Legally.
Anyway. This is truly the countdown timer to us getting cancelled is at like 5 minutes to midnight.
Hey, well, no, that's gonna be when someone tracks us down and shoots us.
Yeah.
But only 2 of us. And it will be at midnight.
Yes.
2 shots, one could say. I love referencing things that most people will not know.
Yes.
Sometime we need to do a full Gate Continuum recap so that people can get all of our references.
Eventually. So, did we have more to say about Something Borrowed?
I'm going to complain about Something Borrowed because I have so much to say about Something Borrowed. You don't even know. Because the black thing is bad and uncomfortable. But another thing that annoyed me about it, that I don't know if a lot of people would also be annoyed by this. This might be a personal thing, but it went so hard on the theme of, like, a mother and child bond is the most important bond ever, and it's so important. Like, they went, like, the villain, pretty much half the villain's lines, more than that even, is just them going, I am a mother, and this is my child, and I need to have my child. And then also it's like, oh, she gets Gwen's mom, so that then it's harder for Gwen to fight her, and oh, she's now pretending to be Reese's mom, and it's like,
yeah.
Why are we going so hard on this? It just feels like not interesting to me because they don't really explore that theme or like do anything with it at all. They just kind of have various characters go, mothers are important. It's like, wow, what do you want? Round of applause?
Yes. It's fully, I don't know. It's such a tonal shift. It's not just a tonal shift. It's such a shift going between Day in the Death and Something Borrowed. I think it is absolutely my least favorite from series 2. Maybe the next episode, like From Out of the Rain, is just, but that's like fun. It's not fun. It's fine.
I quite like From Out the Rain.
Yeah.
Well,
it's got some good things going
for the
for
first time soon.
I'll
find out.
I do not think you will like it. I do not think you will have the same opinion as you do of Something Borrowed. I think you will like it a lot more.
Okay. I do think that Something Borrowed is unfortunate in the ways that it is about things that I don't like.
Yes.
Such as pregnancy, infidelity, and mothers. Which are all things that I strongly dislike generally.
Yes.
So I just think it was onto a loser. It's generally not a good... I recognize that my feelings on it are going to be probably more strong than other people who have more average opinions on those topics. But I do think that even if you don't have King James and the Witchfinders level mummy issues that could cause you to start the witch trials at any time, I feel like you still won't love the episode, right? Like, it still does kind of
still stuff. It's not great. And I fucking Gwack. What were they cooking? Who asked for this?
Is what they were cooking.
Like, Series 1, okay. Series 1, this is a fine thing to be doing. It doesn't really work in Series 1 because it turns out that Gwen and Owen's weird fuck buddy thing is more interesting.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, Series 2, what are we doing?
No need to be there. Especially as Reese becomes more prominent and a really cool character, and you're just watching the screen like, hey buddy, I'm so sorry they're cucking you.
This is the redeeming quality of Something Borrowed, is good amount of Reese content. Big fan of when Reese is there.
I am also a big fan of when Reese is there, but I also feel like it kind of laughs at him a bit, especially like in the scene where he's like he's about to like chainsaw the alien, and then oh no, the chainsaw's not working, and he's awkwardly standing there, and then Jack comes in and saves the day. He's so cool, and Gwen likes him, and it's like, why are you doing this for my boy Reese?
Talking of episodes where Jack just shows up, future to do. I'm getting good at these segues.
Through line.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. God, I fully forgot until you said that Jack is in fact in Future the Dune.
Yeah.
That's so fucked.
So Future the Dune is
really random.
It's it's a interesting episode to talk about, because there's a lot that it's doing well, right? Like the Jaduna cool. I think it's cool to bring them back. You know, it does a decent job of building some mystery around this future Doctor and all these things. But A, we already know how this all plays out. It's shit. And B, like, where does this episode leave us? Kind of nowhere.
Yeah. One thing that I said when we were talking about it after Who's Talk is that it really does kind of feel like the first part of a two-parter. You know, it feels like a lot of setup. This is kind of why I made that joke earlier about how, like, it's not really got a plot. Because, like, it's got some things that happen, and some of them are even good. There are parts that I'm really enjoying myself in the episode, but it feels a little bit just kind of confused or empty at the end, because it's like, where is this going? Not to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And also, watching it back, already knowing what's going to happen is a bit of, it feels, you know, like a bit of a letdown. Like, there's nothing new to add in terms of, I've got nothing new from that.
Yeah. And Jack is just shows up, says some shit that's clearly not important in this episode, and, like, that's not just, like, throwing out a line of exposition. That's taking up fully all the companions do in this story.
The, like, companions and Jack bit, like, you could isolate that and it could just be, like, a mini-sode. Like, a shit mini-sode. But a mini-sode nonetheless. Like, it feels like an entirely separate thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you take it out. Yeah, you take it out and you just have, like, a mini-sode that's just the companions and Jack chatting. And then, like, a slightly shorter than normal, like, just, like, Doctor with no companions episode.
Yeah,
that is true. I would like to know more about what went on between Jack and Ryan.
Yeah.
I was picking up a vibe. I definitely was seeing, like, a certain... certain thing there.
I enjoy the fact that Ryan has, like, an incomprehensible rizz. You know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's, you know, he doesn't quite know how he does it, but he's always getting someone.
Everyone
he's just
Ryan.
It's absolutely.
I mean, you know, what are you gonna say?
It's a recurring theme, and I love that for him.
Yeah.
That's great. And you know, I just think we need more adventures of Rizz and Ryan. You know, I think we need more. You know, more of that. Just traveling around time and space and accidentally rizzing up people.
Exactly.
And it's typically accidental. I'm like, there's only a couple of instances where he's doing this on purpose. Other times, it's just other people become obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing it on purpose.
Oh, I've completely lost you.
Oh.
I can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
Ah, good. You're talking about Ryan.
Love it.
And
Sorry.
his rizz.
Yeah, talking about Ryan. So Ryan only does the Rizz on purpose in Orphan 55 that I can recall.
Yeah,
Are there any
pretty
other?
much.
Oh, and when he talks to Yaz about Yaz's sister. So that's not directly to Yaz's sister, but that's like intent of Rizz. He's declaring an intent of Rizz.
I forgot
you know?
that was a good part as well.
Yeah.
I
That was good.
I hope that we get more of that in series 12. Specifically Brian trying to get with Yaz's sister. I think it would be funny.
Hell yeah. That would be a good bit.
We will see.
I would like to, I definitely... I've looked into some of the expanded universe, sort of 13th Doctor era stuff. I think I've mentioned on the podcast. I've read some of the comics. But I would really like to see more of... I know there's going to be the 13 and Yaz audios, but I want to see more of Graham and Ryan as well.
Yeah.
Bring them back, please.
I feel like it's, you know, freest Big Finish series of all time. You know, the further adventures of Graham and Ryan, and whatever other like random side character we can get to show up. You know, like.
God, yeah. Okay, now which Big Finish like staple characters do you want to see a crossover with Graham and Ryan?
I mean, to be fair, I think they could.
Question for everybody here.
crossover of like the new Torchwood team. I don't know anyone who's on the new Torchwood team, but I think that at least one of them would try and fuck Ryan.
I mean, for that alone, sure. I also don't know anyone who's on the new Torchwood team.
Okay.
Who else? Wait, I think there is a Big Finish series with that's like Dorian Gray. I think Dorian Gray should try and fuck Ryan.
Oh god.
Yeah. I can imagine this
he
as a
fits
thing.
into the profile. Yeah, exactly. It fits into the profile of guy who wants to fuck Ryan.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it absolutely does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's a
almost
Big
too
Finish
well.
audio that's just Dorian Gray being like immortal and bisexual and whatever, and I just think, yeah, he'd want to fuck Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't know why this podcast's become Who Wants to Fuck Ryan.
This is the Valentine special.
The ValentRyan's special. Everyone else name other Big Finish type characters who would want to fuck Ryan. Thoughts on Jackie Tyler? We know she goes for younger men. We've seen Love and Monsters.
100% she would, right? I'm not saying Ryan would, but like,
need to see that.
Yeah, I hate you for saying it, but you're correct.
I'm correct.
You know, I was gonna like lowball with.
Listen to that.
I was gonna lowball with like the Crispy Master. That's a lie. I don't think the Crispy Master fucks.
Oh god, no, the Crispy Master doesn't fuck. The Bald Master, however.
Potentially, yes.
What do you think, Katherine? Name some characters just from anywhere in the Doctor Who expanded universe or Big Finish who you think want to fuck Ryan.
Who do I think wants to fuck Ryan?
Yeah.
Just like most historical figures who are bi.
God,
Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great needs to fuck more Doctor Who companions. Ian's not enough.
I've got like a different version. I've got like a redo of the Romans in my head, where like the Romans where Nero is like. Same episode, but it's like Ryan. Honestly, a 13th Doctor like that. The fam. In doing the Romans, and it's like pretty much exactly the same episode, but Barbara's replaced by Ryan, Vicky's replaced by Yaz, I guess, and Ian is Graham. Yeah, this works.
Yeah,
this is good. This
does work. I do like how a lot of the 13th Doctor era feels like it's calling back to like quite old classic Who.
Yeah,
like I will forever say the Witchfinders is. In many ways, a Hartnell historical.
Yeah, except they invented not doing pure historicals, which is a great innovation.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it is, for war crimes, So, there's some good about it.
Yeah.
It goes a lot of the time very close to being pure historical.
Yeah.
This is part of the harking back to very old Doctor Who.
Yeah. I think, I generally enjoy, at least in like the Witchfinders and Demons of the Punjab, I do think that the sci-fi elements do improve those stories. I have a lot of thoughts about the Thajarian, whatever they're called, Thajarian from Demons of the Punjab. I think they're really interesting aliens. This is us avoiding talking about Fugitive of the Jadoon. There's Jadoon in it.
There's Jadoon in it. There's Ryan in it. Do we want to talk more about Ryan rizzing up the entire Doctor Who
I think the thing with
universe?
Fugitive of the Jadoon, it is like, hey, remember Series 3? It's like, the Jadoon's here, and Captain Jack's here, and fucking the Chameleon Arch. That's it. It's like, remember Series 3, but also...
Right? Not...
Yeah.
Damn.
It is.
I didn't realise that.
It's like, remember Series 3, but also, do you remember, like, in the 80s when we did Time Lord politics all the time? And honestly, go for that. Slay.
Yeah, like,
what's the name? Jack. The other Gallifreyan lady. She is a Gallifreyan, not a Time Lord, which would suggest to me that she never got her degree.
Yeah. She's a fucking shabugan.
In terms of Time Lord politics.
Yeah, I do love that. Like, the thing is, we know how it all turns out, and we know that Time of Children happens and is not the best done thing, but I get the allure of it, right? There's such an allure of doing, like, Gallifrey lore and, like, Time Lord stuff, and when we get to Flux, I am going to become so insufferable, because I love this shit. I just also hate when it happens.
Like, just started being insufferable? I thought that we had all agreed to be insufferable for a while now. That's the point of making a podcast.
I'm trying to present myself as more, like, friendly and approachable, because this podcast is actually my strategy for getting a date. This is not true. If you listen to this podcast, do not date me. It'd be too much of a power imbalance, because, you know, I'm basically a god to you.
Interest. Yeah. The parasocial relationship needs to retain the para in the name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. So let's bring the viewers closer into our parasocial relationship, by talking about Gate Continuum. You know.
Gate Continuum, which only 2 out of the 3 people currently in this episode play. So that means that, Katherine, we can be explaining it to you also.
Yes, please explain it to me. I'm happy to listen. You could explain it, like, fully.
Yes. Well,
we do not have time for that. We will be doing a This Week in Gate Continuum, which is recapping the latest episode, which is the second part of a 2-parter.
Yes.
So that's fun.
Yes. So this week, the hilarious historical comedy hijinks turned into futility and death. I guess I'll ask, as always, for your thoughts on Monsters from the Sea.
It's 2 parts Monty Python and 1 part horrors, and I like both of those things. Actually, maybe 2 parts Monty Python, 2 part horrors, 1 part Monty Python, 1 part horrors. Let's just cancel them out. Yes. And I really enjoyed it. I really sort of thought, the way in which kind of the tone swing happened worked really well. I really liked that. I think, I love it when, I love it when things are doomed. I love it when stuff is doomed generally. So that's always fun. Doomed by history, even.
Yeah.
Always a fun time, that. It's a classic of you try to fix things and you get a bunch of people killed.
Yes,
classic historical.
I was very impressed with a lot of the things the players did. This, I did not start this 2-parter or even this part really thinking, this is going to be like a really Grey Fox focused story, and then
it's always the ones you least expect. But James comes up with the most cooked plans for.
Yeah, it's Red Eye.
Yes. Our Ood went red-eyed.
Yes, and
in the middle of the Battle of Ugarit. Ugarit, sorry.
Yes. Killed many sea people, who were in fact people, and not
people from the sea, even.
Yes.
And not the Sea Devils.
No.
Wow. And here I thought this was going to be like a War Between the Land and Sea tie-in for publicity.
Yeah,
I thought that you'd been paid to promote it.
I
was going to ask if you could give us some of that bag that you were being given by the BBC to promote War Between Land and Sea and Gate Continuum.
I'd just like to say to, all the members of the BBC who have been listening, firstly, what the fuck's wrong with you? And secondly, I will accept money to say that War Between the Land and the Sea will be the best spin-off ever made. I do not have morals. I will sell this show, but only if you put the Sea Devil sex... Okay, we're going on a tangent here. But I've been thinking so much about...
one way that it can be good.
We
know this.
I was having a discussion the other day. I genuinely think that, like, the way that, not the only way, but like one of the few ways that War Between the Land and Sea could be good is if instead of being exactly what we expect it to be, it's anything else. And by this I mean specifically it's Romeo and Juliet.
If human sea devil sex scene, we need to see it.
Or at least have it strongly implied. You know? Like, I get
like
you can't put
tasteful fade to black, you know.
Yeah. Like, you know. You have like a kind of
just a little bit of gill touching here and there.
Yeah.
I'm a reasonable man. I'm not asking for much.
Definitely need to see them kiss on screen, right? Like that's.
Oh yeah.
That's
kiss and yeah.
Yeah, but I think
definite
that,
implications.
I think I think if it is about
Katherine, what do you think could make it be good?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know.
Neither of any of us.
You have to understand that talking shit about Doctor Who you've never seen is in fact a crucial part of being on a podcast. So join us.
I'd like to say that I've seen every episode I talk about on this podcast, and no one can prove otherwise.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well.
That's fair. That's a reasonable response. I'm unreasonable, and I think that a human and a sea devil should fuck nasty on screen.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm not against them fucking nasty on screen.
Hell yeah! Ally! An ally to the human sea devil fucking community.
I think
God, what am I?
I think this about sums up our podcast in that we've brought on a guest and we have broken them. With sea devil lewdness.
Katherine, how are you feeling?
I'm alright.
Okay, good.
Excellent.
Broken me, so that's fine. Well, I know we tried. Not as well enough to be fine.
No. Well, I think I don't think there's more we need to say here. I don't know.
Day in the Death is very good.
Day in the Death is a good episode. You know, sometimes the biggest monster is man. I don't know where that came from.
Sometimes the biggest monster is the one fucking a man in The War Between the Land and Sea, coming out soon!
Yeah, only available on BBC iPlayer and Disney Plus worldwide.
What if it's Ryan fucking the sea devil?
I will actually run through the middle of town naked.
Down the route. This is I mean, alright, fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the Valentine special, everyone. You know, we've
Ryan fucking a sea devil. Like, how does that? We cannot have that the conclusion of the podcast.
Yeah, we can.
That says more about the podcast than anything else that we could have possibly said.
Yeah.
Ryan fucking a sea devil.
Exactly.